Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Here are the top stories of the news. Protest rocks University of Ibadan area over ongoing economic crisis. Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara states sue federal government over CBN's Naira redesign policy. On the foreign scene, powerful earthquake hits southeastern Turkey, killing over 500 people in Turkey and Syria. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 and Western Spring Television. My name is Evelyn Ohiole, and now the news in detail. Protesters this morning took to the gate of the University of Ibadan, Oyo State, to express their dissatisfaction over the ongoing economic chaos in the country. Members of the community blocked the institution's gate, thereby preventing vehicular movement and other activities. A student who does not want her name mentioned told newsmen that soldiers and Operation Bust officers had arrived at the scene. For weeks, Nigeria has been faced with biting naira and fuel scarcity. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has urged Nigerians to bear with the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, over the redesigned naira notes. Following the introduction of the redesigned 200 naira, 500 and 1,000 naira banknotes by the Apex Bank, Nigerians have continued to experience nationwide scarcity of the naira. But Mr. Obi, in a news chat, called for patience, saying he hopes that masses will harvest the gains that will come with the reforms. He stated that currency redesign is not peculiar to Nigeria, adding that the policy comes with some pains but has benefits in the long term.
I don't think you read my position all through, but let me restate my position. Currency redesign is not peculiar to Nigeria. This is an exercise that has a long-term economic and social benefits, but comes with a short-term inconveniences and pain. And my appeal still to Nigerians is that we should have patience with the federal government of Nigeria and the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Similarly, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says lawmakers may reconvene if the hardship occasioned by the naira swap continues. The Speaker stated this during town hall meeting with some ethnic groups in Surulere, Lagos yesterday, stating that the autonomy of the Apex Bank does not make it above the law. According to Mr. Gbajabiamila, while the lawmakers are on break and expected to resume after the general elections, the scarcity of the new naira notes and the attendant consequences may force the House of Representatives to reconvene. He noted that the House made several efforts to intervene in the naira swap crisis by inviting the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. In the meantime, a former chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, Adams Oshiomhole, has accused the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, of deceiving President Muhammadu Buhari over the redesign of the naira notes. The former Edo State governor, in a news chat, faulted the policy, describing it as senseless and a plot by the Apex Bank to scuttle the general elections. He claimed that the CBN sold to the president that the redesigning of the naira notes would cure vote buying and thus catch corrupt politicians off guard. According to him, the bank sold an anti-corruption motive to the president, which made him approve the policy.
In my view, I think the National Assembly captured the mood of the people, and I'm happy about that, because what distinguishes a dictatorship from democracy is the presence of parliament. They live and they represent 360 constituencies across the 774 local government in Nigeria. They are in touch with their people, and they have spoken. Nobody should lay claim to be more patriotic than the other. Now, those poor pensioners who were crying to me in Edo, what I have to do? I couldn't own on to the decision because I was not consulted. It's not a party decision, it was never debated at a party forum. So I believe that the governor of the bank just play on what he considered to be the president most, because president is truly committed to anti-corruption, and so he uses that to achieve other objectives.
Meanwhile, the Association of Corporate Affairs Managers of Banks, ACMB, has faulted claims that banks are hoarding the new Naira notes, but expressed optimism that the scarcity of the currency would end soon. ACMB President Rashid Bolariwa disclosed this in a statement, stating that banks are not in any way hoarding or holding back Naira notes or engaging in any act inimical to its avowed commitment to exciting customer experience. He stated that ATMs are being loaded every day and cash is being paid as provided by the CBN, as regularly being checked by CBN inspectors and other regulators, including anti-graft agencies. While reiterating its support for the CBN's cashless policy, Mr. Bolariwa noted that banks have in the past weeks rolled out extra measures to ease the flow of Naira notes. To legal matters, the governments of Kaduna, Kogi and Zamfara have dragged the federal government before the Supreme Court, seeking a restraining order to stop the full implementation of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN's Naira redesign policy. In the suit, the three northern states are urging the apex court to grant them an interim injunction, stopping the federal government, either by itself or acting through the CBN, from carrying out its plans of ending the time frame within which the now older versions of the 200, 500, and 1,000 denominations of the Naira may no longer be legal tender on February 10, 2023. The plaintiffs in the suit are the three attorneys general and commissioners of justice of the three states, while the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami SAN, is the sole respondent. The plaintiffs said that since the announcement of the new Naira note policy, there has been an acute shortage in the supply of the new Naira notes in the states, and citizens who have dutifully deposited their old Naira notes have increasingly found it difficult and sometimes next to impossible to access new Naira notes to go about their daily activities. To politics, the Supreme Court of Nigeria is set to deliver judgment in the legal dispute over the All Progressive Congress APC senatorial ticket for Yobe North. The APC is challenging the nomination of Bashir Mashina as the party's candidate for Yobe North Senatorial District. The party is insisting that Ahmed Lawan, Nigeria's Senate President, was the authentic senatorial candidate for Yobe North for the forthcoming general election. At the last hearing of the appeal, the counsel for the party, Sepiribo Peters, argued that the primary election held on 28th May last year, which produced Mashina, was in breach of the Electoral Act 2022. The APC had approached the Apex Court seeking to nullify the judgment of the appellate court that confirmed Mr. Mashina as the APC candidate for Yobe North. The People's Democratic Party PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has urged Nigerians not to allow the forthcoming elections be determined by bullion van tendencies. Mr. Atiku, in a message to his supporters via email, was apparently referring to the 2 bullion vans seen entering the premises of the All Progressives Congress APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu ahead of the 2019 general election. He urged Nigerians to use the power of their permanent voters card, PVCs, to channel their frustration to vote out the All Progressives Congress in the forthcoming general election. He stated that under no circumstance must Nigerians allow the outcome of the election be determined by the bullion van tendencies. In Rivers State, the Atiku Support Organization has alleged that about 30 of its members were arrested yesterday by armed policemen during a meeting in GRA, Port Harcourt, the state capital. The National Publicity Secretary of the group, Victor Moses, disclosed these in a statement yesterday, alleging that the officers may have acted on the instructions of the state governor, Nyesom Wike. Mr. Moses said the meeting was part of preparations for the People's Democratic Party presidential rally slated to hold on February 11. He noted that some of those arrested were state and local government leaders of the organization. When contacted, the spokesman for the State Police Command, Grace Irige Koko, said she had not received such report. However, as of the time of this report, the state government is yet to react to the allegation. You're still watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We'll be right back after this break.
Mao Zedong at birth, but globally known as Mao Zedong, he was a Chinese revolutionary and founder, People's Republic of China, which he led as chairman of the Chinese Communist Party from 1949 until his death in 1976. He was a communist who believed in the attainment of power by the instrumentality of gun. His wise saying, "Political power grows out of the barrel of gun," formed the major plank of his revolutionary struggle for the control of China. In the long span of his leadership and political power, Mao Zedong relentlessly entrenched the communist philosophy in China, which emphasized the revolutionary struggle of the vast majority of people against the exploiting class and their state structures. The communist leaders defined the class struggle as people's war. Mao Zedong was a story of grass to grace, having risen from peasantry to preeminent status as China's most respected leader. Western Spring Television identifies Mao Zedong as a major character in history. Born 16th September 1923, named Harry Lee Kuan and known as Lee Kuan Yew, he was often addressed by his initials of LKY. Lee Kuan Yew was a barrister and the first Prime Minister of Singapore between 1959 and 1990. Educated at Raffles Institution from 1936 to 1940 and the Fitzwilliam House between 1947 and 1949, Lee Kuan Yew established a highly effective and anti-corrupt governance system that midwifed the transformation of Singapore into a high net worth income economy within a generation. He never hid his exception to Western mode democratic ideal, which he believed had not assisted developing nations to attain good government. Before his death on 23rd March 2015, the People's Action Party, which he founded, had used its political influence to establish the United World College of Southeast Asia to expand his economic ideas among countries that constitute the Asian Tiger. Western Spring Television identifies Lee Kuan Yew as a major character in history. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela was an anti-apartheid activist who gave his all for the elimination of what has been described as the world's most vicious rule of the unjust and man's inhumanity against man. He was born July 18, 1918 in Mvezo, South Africa. Educated and trained as a successful legal practitioner, he took up the gauntlet of a human activist against segregation by the minority white suprematists in South Africa. At the climax of his trial for treason, orchestrated by the minority South African government, the great crusader for democratic equality was prepared to pay the supreme sacrifice to establish majority rule in his native land. He told white jurists that if achieving freedom for his people was worth his life, he was prepared to die. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in Robben Island, described as the most notorious prison in the world. It was from this same prison that he came out as a free man to assume office as South Africa's first black president in 1994. Western Spring Television identifies Nelson Mandela as a watershed character in history. Aminat Aminatu, the legendary Queen of Zazao, is best known to historians as Queen Amina of Zaria, an old walled town and capital of the Hausa state of Zazao. Amina was a great warrior and the first woman to rule the ancient kingdom of Zazao. Her 34 years as queen witnessed an unprecedented expansion of Zazao by conquests. Queen Amina of Zaria belongs to the class of Amazons by the might of her army and her strings of conquests. She opened Zaria to trans-border trade and was said to have initiated kola nut cultivation in the ancient kingdom. The Hausa Muslim figure was born in 1533 and died in 1610 at the age of 77 years. Folklores remember Aminatu, the queen of Zazao, as a brave, smart and talented leader, whose giant statue now adorns the National Arts Theatre in Lagos, Nigeria, while many educational institutions bear her name. Western Spring Television identifies Queen Amina as a watershed character in history.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Moving on to security matters. 3 persons have been confirmed dead after gunmen attacked the Mayanga community in Bokos local government area of Plateau State. It was gathered that 2 other persons sustained gunshot injuries during the attack, which occurred yesterday night. A resident of the community, Bolos Sule, who confirmed the attack to newsmen in Jos today, said those injured had been evacuated to the hospital where they are currently receiving treatment. However, as of press time, the state police has yet to comment on the incident. President Muhammadu Buhari at the weekend condemned the attack on vigilantes at Yagoje Forest in Kankara local government area of Katsina, where many lives were lost. This was disclosed in a statement issued yesterday by the president's media aide, Garba Shehu. It would be recalled that the Katsina State Police Command had on Friday confirmed the death of 41 members of local vigilance groups Yansakai in an ambush by terrorists in Yagoje Forest. The terrorists ambushed a convoy of vigilantes in the forest as they went to recover stolen cows, leading to the killings. Reacting, Buhari paid tribute to all those vigilantes and family members who have been martyred, saying that the sacrifices of the brave men who are working to stop and punish crime in their communities will not be forgotten. In business, crude oil prices rose in early trade today after falling around 8% to more than 3-week lows last week, as nervousness over major economies outweighed signs of a demand recovery in China, the world's largest oil importer. Brent crude futures were up 16% to $80.10 a barrel, while U.S. crude futures were up 15 cents to $73.54 a barrel. While fears of a recession dominated the market last week, International Energy Agency Executive Director Fatih Birol stressed that China's recovery remains a key driver of oil prices. Birol said the IEA expects half of global oil demand growth this year to come from China, where demand for aviation fuel has risen sharply. For news outside Nigeria, a powerful earthquake has struck southeastern Turkey near the Syrian border, killing more than 500 people as they slept and trapping many others. The U.S. Geological Survey said the 7.8 magnitude tremor struck earlier today at a depth of 17.9 kilometers near the city of Gaziantep. Turkish Vice President Fuat Oktay said the death toll in Turkey had now risen to 284 people. In Syria, state media reported that more than 230 people were killed. The Syrian Health Ministry said people have died in the provinces of Aleppo, Latakia, Hama, and Tartus. There fears the number of deaths will rise sharply in the coming hours. Many buildings have collapsed and rescue teams have been deployed to search for survivors under the huge piles of rubble. At least 2,323 people were injured in Turkey and 639 in Syria.
Allahu Ekber. Bırak ne abi? Ya gerizekalı. İnsan vardı içeride. Ya dedik geçelim dışarı. Yok. Lan insan vardı.
In Africa, Mali's military government has given the head of the United Nations Peacekeeping Mission's Human Rights Division 48 hours to leave the country. In a statement read out on national television, a government spokesman said Guillaume Ngefa Atondoko Andali had committed subversive actions in the selection of witnesses to testify at UN Security Council briefings on Mali. Last month, a Malian civil society activist who gave evidence at a UN meeting accused the government's Russian military partners of serious human rights violations. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is due in Mali today for a visit aimed at boosting defense and security ties. It will be the first official visit to the West African nation by a Russian foreign minister. Some 47 people are on trial for flouting Hong Kong's controversial national security law in the largest case of its kind. They include some of the city's most prominent pro-democracy figures, such as activist Joshua Wong and Benny Tai. Accused of subversion for holding an unofficial primary election, most of them have been detained for the past 2 years on national security grounds. Critics say the national security law is used as a tool to crush dissent, but Chinese and Hong Kong authorities maintain it is needed to curb unrest. Long queues of supporters were today seen outside the West Kowloon Magistrates Court, where the hearing is taking place. Now let's talk sports. Harry Kane said it was magical to become Tottenham's all-time record goal scorer. Kane's match-winning strike to beat Manchester City 1-0 at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium was his 267th for the club, breaking Jimmy Greaves' record, which had stood unmatched for more than 50 years. In doing so, he also scored his 200th Premier League goal, becoming the fastest player in the 31-year history of the league to do so. In 2 matches fewer than previous record holder Alan Shearer, Kane said he could never have dreamt of hitting such milestones at the start of his career, and added his delight at the circumstances of the goal against the Premier League title holders.
Hi everyone, just here on the pitch after a really special night. Obviously to break the all-time leading goal scorer for Tottenham Hotspur is just a dream come true. To be honest, it wasn't even something I was probably dreaming about when I was younger. It was just about playing, and to be here now is just a magical moment, and no better place to do it in front of our home fans, and to win the game against a really tough side, a really important 3 points. So just a special night with everyone here, my friends, my family. So I'll take it all in, and as we keep saying, just on to the next one. We've got a lot to play for this year, and I'm excited to finish the season strong. So just a big thank you to everyone, all the guys and girls back home, everyone in the stadium, everyone who's helped me to get to where I am now and supported me. I'm really grateful and just really proud. So thank you.
In basketball, Golden State Warriors guard Stephen Curry has been ruled out indefinitely with a knee injury. Curry limped off court during the third quarter of the Warriors' 119-113 win over the Dallas Mavericks after clashing knees with an opponent. The 34-year-old had an MRI yesterday, which confirmed he had suffered partial tears to ligaments in his left knee, as well as bruising to his lower leg. In a statement, the Warriors said additional clarity on a potential timeline will be established in the coming days. Four-time NBA champion Curry had already missed 11 games this season with a partially dislocated shoulder.
A little bit. You were speaking with the head athletic trainer, Rick Celebrini. It's been a while since they've made a seismic move or a significant move of any kind at the trade deadline.
Oh boy, Steph Curry looks like we'll see it on the way back, but he's hobbled a little bit here, folks. We'll see it on the...
In entertainment, Nigerian singer Thames has won the coveted Grammy Prize for her effort on the track Wait For You alongside rappers Future and Drake. The track picked up the win in the Best Melodic Rap Performance category, beating DJ Khaled's Beautiful, Kendrick Lamar's Die Hard, amongst others. Compatriot Burna Boy, however, lost in his quest for a second Grammy trophy after being nominated in the Best Global Album and Best Global Music Performance categories. Meanwhile, Beyoncé won a record-breaking 32nd Grammy Award, while Harry Styles won Album of the Year at this year's ceremony in Los Angeles. Beyoncé made history as she won Best Dance Electronic Album for her euphoric dance appears Renaissance. In doing so, she overtook Hungarian-British conductor George Solti, whose record of 31 Grammys had stood for more than 20 years. Overall, Beyoncé won 4 prizes at the ceremony but missed some of the early presentations after getting stuck in gridlock downtown Los Angeles. Viola Davis also became the latest star to earn a coveted EGOT, a combination of an Emmy, a Grammy, an Oscar, and a Tony. The Hollywood star made history at the 65th Annual Grammy Awards with a win for the Best Audiobook, Narration, and Storytelling Recording category.
Viola, to honor her life, her joy, her trauma, everything. And it has just been such a journey. I just EGOT. And thank you. Harper's Collins, Lavelle Levette, you epitomize sister friend, and really to everybody who was a part of my story, and the best chapter yet.
Before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. Protesters this morning took to the gate of the University of Ibadan, your state, to express their dissatisfaction over the ongoing economic chaos in the country. The governments of Kaduna, Kogi, and Zamfara have dragged the federal government before the Supreme Court, seeking a restraining order to stop the full implementation of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN's Naira redesign policy. On the foreign scene, we brought to you that a powerful earthquake has struck southeastern Turkey near the Syrian border, killing more than 500 people as they slept and trapping many others. Remember to follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am Evelyn Ohiole. Many thanks for your time.